The Harris-Walz ticket is ahead in the polls. And the former guy is doing everything he can think of to own the narrative. Take it back. The Washington press corps seems really happy to help him. Welcome to MOMocrats Mama Chat, part of the Demcast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Karoli and Aliza Worthington from crooksandliars.com. And you guys.
They don't know. It's like they're glitching.
They're glitching.
The Beltway media and the mainstream media is just glitching. They do not know how to report this sort of thing.
It's interesting to me that it really highlights for me how important access is. So one of the things that you are hearing now, after just a couple of weeks of her being the candidate, right, is that she isn't giving interviews. She isn't, which isn't true, by the way. She has given interviews. She gave an interview to Essence. She gave one to Rolling Stone, but she isn't giving interviews in the sense that that it's them, right? And so she's not sitting for an interview, and it's what's interesting to me is that when she was vice president, she would always go back to the press pool in the plane, and about a week before all of the shit hit the fan and Biden withdrew and everything, she stopped going back to the back of the plane. It was noted. I mean, in the VP pool reports, they said, she didn't come back to the plane, back of the plane like she usually does and everything. So now I think she actually has done some off the record stuff now that she's in the campaign mode, but it's just been, kind of not on the record, things like that. And they are pissed. And then Trump will give them all the access they want. And you can witness, I don't know if you guys saw Caitlin Collins and her appearance on Colbert saying that when Biden dropped out, she asked the Uber to turn around. She went back and got her CNN badge and coat and everything that she needed, and then got in the car and realized she didn't have her headphones. So she dialed him on the speaker, Trump on the speaker. And in the process of telling that story, she said, he gave me all the quotes I wanted.
Yep.
Right. And so, I mean, that was the dead giveaway, that the reason that he gets the kind of press he gets is because he gives this access to them all the time. And, so when she said he gave me all the quotes I wanted.
Right.
That was, that was the whole ball game right there.
In an Uber on speakerphone.
Right. She was on speak. I mean, there was that, and the Uber driver was freaking out. Who is that? Who I think it is, blah, blah, blah. I mean, she made it into a funny story, but for me, it wasn't a funny story. For me, it was like Biden drops out and you're calling Trump for reactions to that. And he's giving you all the quotes you wanted.
Right.
That kind of just tells us where the state of our media is today. So I bully for Kamala Harris for not playing their game. I mean, Biden didn't play it either, by the way, and that's why he was shoved out.
I hated him.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you read John's story yesterday?
I did. Yeah.
I didn't. I didn't have time, but I really want to. I have it bookmarked.
Yeah.
He was basically saying that
Harris people sent it to me. I'm like, I know. I need to read it. I love him.
That Kamala Harris learned from seeing what they did to Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And she learned that the Washington press corps is not about substance.
Right. At all.
Not at all.
So it's about vibes, which is exactly right. So now if we're going to do that, then we're vibing, right?
Vibing. And we're vibing hard, man. Really vibing.
Right? I mean, Kamala's upward trajectory has been amazing and great. And things like 39% leaps in Democratic enthusiasm to vote. That's like unheard of in 2 weeks, right? I mean, it's just
In 2 weeks, this thing is not even a month old. She's not even a month into
right.
her candidacy, which is like, I can't even believe I'm saying this right now in August of 2024.
Mhm.
Real Clear Politics has her ahead.
Mhm.
And as Matthew Dowd pointed out on TV just before we went on the air, their polling averages are behind. That she's probably much farther ahead than what it's showing at the moment.
We need her to be farther ahead.
We do.
Just for the record, we need like her to be way far ahead, like groundswell.
But she's getting there. I mean,
she
this week there was evangelicals for
Mhm.
Harris Call. Last night there was a Republican for Harris Call. Today, I can't decide whether I'm going to the Californians for Harris Call or the Jews for Harris Call.
Right, the Jewish women. There's a Jewish woman
Jewish
for
women
Harris.
with Barbara Streisand.
Right.
So,
Yeah, no, I know. I actually have stopped doing those calls because there's so many of
there's
them.
so many of them, but it's a joy to see.
Well, and if there's a story of this campaign, it's how Zoom is being used to organize and fire up the rank and file, right?
Yeah.
I mean, completely bypassing all the traditional media, and going right for the straight up community, affinity group type stuff.
And can we talk? It's a very valuable fundraising tool.
Absolutely.
And it's a great platform, a great tool. With the help of the CEOs, they're able to make it work for everybody. Can we talk about Trump's disaster on Twitter?
Do we have to? On Twitter?
Elon Musk held an interview with Trump the other night on Twitter.
Sorry.
And I said, no way. And he said, no way. And I said, way.
Anyway, of course, as we recall from when he tried to do the same thing for DeSantis, he's fired all his engineers. The platform couldn't handle it. It was 50 minutes before it could start.
Well, I mean, you guys, I think we're having a DDoS attack.
Yeah,
right.
That's like the big meme right now. Anything.
Oh my God.
I can't do the dishes. I'm having a DDoS attack.
Oh, that's hilarious. I haven't seen those, but I'm still on the Tim Walz dad meme. Sorry, but
those are too much. Those are so damn funny.
Oh my God. I mean, they're so good. And every one of them is like a Midwest, just folksy, not even folksy, just like nice dad. I had a friend that was like Tim Walz, or had a dad that was like Tim Walz. He was awesome. He, fixed, like he got an old bus and fixed it up, and he was a dentist. So in his spare time, he'd like work on stuff. So, he never let her leave in her car without him checking everything, that kind of thing.
Dad.
Yeah. Tim Walz is the guy who gets a sweater as a gift and puts it on as soon as he opens it and tells you that he loves it and he means it,
Yeah, right. Exactly. Some of those are so good. They're just really good. So
they just really evoke, like, oh my God, I know a person like that. I know, or my dad is just like that, or my brother or my grandpa was like that.
And then you see him and he is like that. I mean, that's the thing.
And who would you rather vote for? The joyful woman and wonderful dad who are just super normal and nice and happy,
right?
Or the creeps on the other side,
the weirdos,
the weirdo, creepy people who are obsessed with taking away your rights, particularly the rights of women in the bedroom. And it is just like, I can't even believe this was ever a choice. Ever.
There you go.
8 years ago.
Right.
There you go.
12, whatever. I can't believe this guy ever made it onto the political scene.
I know. And
you know,
he's way
but
worse now than he was, though. I mean, he
now,
turned on everybody in 2016. Now it's
of
like,
course we did. We did. I mean, my mantra, Hillary was where she was right. She was right about everything. She told us.
Absolutely.
She told us.
Yeah.
In every sentence she spoke, she told us, and she told us in detail, and every detail was accurate. She was fucking right about everything.
Yeah.
And I am telling, and like, how did this happen? And now, how is it even still a choice with some people?
Well, it happened because the New York Times and other media had a feeding frenzy.
Of course.
This ridiculous nothing burger of a story regarding her email server.
Yeah, well, I mean, it happened because they hate her and they found a reason. They didn't. That's not why it happened, because they didn't want her to be president.
They
That's
did
why it happened, and they would, if it wasn't the email server, they would have found something about her caftans that they found, that they could drum up a scandal about, that there wasn't anything. You know, it would have been something.
We only knew about the email server because the House Republicans went on a fishing trip for anything that they could do to take her down. And even after she endured all those hours of Benghazi questioning, you know, she was the most admired woman in America.
Yep.
And they were on a crusade to take her down. And then you got the Russians involved too, and Roger Stone.
Well, let's not forget the FBI.
And the FBI. Can we talk a little bit about the double standard with, you know, so the Trump campaign has been hacked through Roger Stone's email.
Can I just tell you how much I love that it was Roger Stone that fell for this spearfishing? You know,
it was Roger Stone. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
You know, gee, are they acting a little differently about this hack than they were?
Let me think about that for a minute.
On the one hand, they did hold back on Hunter Biden's stuff at the beginning when they were like this, you know, they behaved like they learned something
until they didn't.
2016, until they didn't. But, you know, until the right-wing media led them into making a big deal about it.
Yeah.
But right now, you know, they're not, you know, they're going, oh no, we can't tell you what's in these files. It's not newsworthy. It was hacked. We can't do it. They still have never apologized for what they did to Hillary.
I mean, this goes back to what we were saying at the beginning too. It's like they get their minds, this is access, right? Mm-hmm. So Trump is saying, I'm sure somebody on the Trump campaign, I'm supposing, I don't know this is fact, but I'm sure it's true, is saying, if you release that stuff, that will be the end of your access. Right? We will not talk to you. We will not.
I'm sure it's not innocent, like you know, like Hillary stuff
whether it is or it's probably not recipes or whatever, but is whether it is or it isn't. And I don't really care to know either what's in it. What's in it. It's the double standard of how they treat one group of people versus the other. So Hunter Biden. Everything seems to be fair game with Hunter Biden, right? I mean, we can do his naked pictures because, you know, they were part of the hack. You know,
and hold them up in a congressional hearing if we want to.
And we can lie about them and say that they were, you know, that they were not part. Nothing was hacked, right? But yeah, it was hacked. I mean, Fox News won't admit that to this day, right? It was Hunter Biden's laptop with no actual provenance for where all that data came from. There was no physical laptop. So, you know, I mean, it's just, if everything, the thing that is driving me crazy and has been since they went after Biden with everything they had, is how different it is. How there's one set of standards for Biden and there's another set of standards for Trump, and the same for Kamala Harris and the same for Trump. The only difference is that Kamala Harris has so much popularity right now and so much forward momentum, that they can't smear her. They haven't been able to find anything to smear her.
They're trying. It's not for lack of trying.
They're doing the best they can. They keep beating the stolen valor dead horse against Tim Walz.
That's not flying.
Stupid. That's not flying at all.
No.
I mean,
and it shouldn't. You know? I'm sorry. The man put in 24 years.
Right. Don't swift boat him. Don't do it.
24 years.
Not to mention the fact that Democrats aren't going to put up with that again. I mean, they got to do that once, and that's it. They're not going to.
They shouldn't have, and that it was bullshit then.
It was.
Absolutely.
It was, but we weren't prepared for it. We've been through it now, and that's actually what's been fun to watch.
Yeah.
Trump can't change his attacks. He's lobbing the same attacks on Harris that he did on Biden, just changing the names.
He can't change anything. He can't change his style.
No.
He can't change his language. He can't, everything he does is the same thing that he's done for the last 20 years.
Right.
And Chris Lasivita, is that how his name is pronounced?
I guess.
He was one of the architects of the swift boating. So, I mean, they're just going back to the same playbook over, and it's not working.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not going to work. I mean, that's the part of this that's so delicious, is that.
Yeah, because we're adapting, at least to a degree. The Democrats are adapting, and we're not falling for it again.
Right.
And they're Republicans, or Trump at least, is not adapting.
Right.
Right.
And next week is our convention.
Mm-hmm.
And our convention will be a show. Our convention will have star power. It will have our wonderful Democratic bench.
Right.
It will have all of our former presidents.
Yep.
Our current president.
Yes.
He was so cute today when he told the people he was talking to that he's looking for a job.
He's looking for a job. Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, and you guys are the future, so maybe I should get a job.
Learn from you, yeah.
Yeah.
Learn how to communicate from you. Yeah.
And Harris and Walz are going to the same Milwaukee arena where the RNC was to have a rally during the convention.
They are not. Are they really? Oh my God.
And I mean, this is separate and apart from their acceptance speeches at the DMC. Right. They're having a big, huge party in Milwaukee.
Are they going to talk about how great Milwaukee was?
Yeah.
They will.
I think they will.
Is that the town that Trump was like, Milwaukee is terrible?
Yes.
No, it's also the town in Minnesota that Laura Ingraham thinks is terrible.
Yeah, right. Geography. Tim Walz taught geography.
Maybe he can send her a little lesson. Send her a little worksheet.
That's what I'm thinking.
A little blank map with the Midwestern region on it. Oh my God.
Detroit is over there.
Yeah.
Listen, I've learned a lot about the Midwest with my kid driving through it.
I'll bet you have. Bet you have. I mean, I learned that, parts of Detroit are actually more farther north in Canada.
Yeah.
And, exactly. I didn't know that until I actually visited Detroit.
Yeah.
And,
I know. It's wild.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's going to be fun.
It's going to be a blast. And so I guess the lineup is Biden and Hillary on Monday.
On the first night. And then is it, I don't have it in front of me, but it's either Obama and then Bill Clinton, or Bill Clinton and then Obama. I'm not sure which way that goes. Then Tim Walz and then
Kamala
Harris. Yeah.
On the third night.
Yeah.
And is that it's a 3-night,
it's 4 nights.
4 nights, just like the RNC was. And I bet you Kamala Harris is not going to speak rambling for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
You don't think?
I mean,
you don't think an accomplished attorney knows how to keep it short and to the point?
one of the things that's been great about her speeches are they're soaring, they hit the point, but they're nice, short and sweet.
She's
like
very disciplined.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that part is great. I
Yeah.
mean, all of the parts are great.
Yeah.
I love watching rallies again. I stopped loving watching rallies in 2016 because they were painful to watch Trump do his thing, and Hillary's were under attended.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, which was frustrating to watch. So I mean,
well, that's certainly not the case with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. The attendance is off the charts.
Yeah. You want to hear something interesting? They did some a poll in Pennsylvania and measured the favorables and unfavorables. The only one who wasn't a negative was Tim Walz. He was like 4 points over in the positive territory. Kamala Harris was 2 points negative.
What does that mean? Favorables versus
approve, disapprove?
Okay.
You know, do you have a favorable, opinion of this person, or is it unfavorable, or whatever? So his was the only one that was on the upside of favorable. I mean, everybody liked it.
There weren't any. No. It wasn't the upside of favorable for Harris.
No, she was 2 points under.
Oh, what about Trump?
He was more. I don't remember what he was. I try not to pay attention to him, but actually 2 points under in Pennsylvania, given the makeup of the whole state.
Yep.
And where people are likely to answer polls in that state is not that bad. It's really not.
And as the campaign continues, that can change.
Right.
That can change. One of the things that I saw on social media that just cracked me up is Frank Luntz trying to get a focus group together.
Yes.
Looking for undecided young women. Couldn't find any for a focus group because they've all been rooting for Harris.
They were all for Harris.
I mean, this is this is the thing that is that I think about a lot, is you got an old white man who can't understand why young women aren't undecided. I don't know. Maybe it's because they don't like their rights taken away.
They can't get health care. They can't make decisions about their own body.
This isn't hard for anybody but old white men. Apparently it's tough on them, but everybody else gets it. I don't know. So I mean, I think that's hilarious. I mean, Frank Luntz is just...
He's awful, but
maybe they actually see that birth control is on the chopping block. Maybe
I'm sure they do.
That no fault divorce is coming down the pike.
Yeah.
And that there are some states where you need you're gonna, if you don't already, you'll need your husband's permission to get an abortion. Or to,
even if you could get one,
it's just,
it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that women are pissed.
Yeah.
Right. And young women, older women generally are pissed.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you're seeing, like we were talking about the affinity groups earlier. One of the ones that just dropped an ad today is Evangelicals for Trump. I mean, they've gotten their act together fast. For Harris, excuse me.
For Harris, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they have.
And they've gotten their act together fast. And they dropped an ad, I will tell you, as a Christian, will pierce the heart of evangelicals. It really
I want to see it.
It goes straight into that, because it goes right to the gut of Trump's lying farce when it comes to Christians.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how it lands, but it certainly impressed me. It was like this was a great.
You've been to the cross and said, Lord, I have sinned. I'm sorry for my sin. I'm willing to change my way of life.
Have you ever asked God for forgiveness? That's a tough question. I'm not sure I have. I don't bring God into that picture. I don't.
And I was amazed at how fast they were able to get one done and out and everything. So, and you know, you only have to shave off a few at the margins. And I know that there's a lot of women that are evangelical or otherwise that are not at all happy with Trump for a number of reasons. But, you know, not the least of which is they don't want to have their right to vote taken away, by the way, which is also something that's on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, when you get people like JD Vance going, you know, did you see what were there, 24 people at his, you know, you can't even really call it a rally anymore. When
that did my heart good, actually.
When you have 24 people there, you can't even, what do you call that? Like a, you know, a party?
A gathering.
A gathering?
A match.
I know, seriously, a book club meeting? I mean,
the only people that liked JD Vance are the tech billionaires, the tech bros, right?
Peter Thiel.
Yeah, and Trump Jr. So
that makes sense.
I mean, if we would be in a different place right now if Trump had nominated Nikki Haley as vice president.
Yeah.
Not that he would ever do it because his ego was too strong for that. But if he had, we would be fighting a lot harder than we are right now. JD Vance.
We're fighting hard. It's, you know.
I know, but it's still.
We wouldn't be doing as well.
We wouldn't.
Nikki Haley is an opportunistic.
Oh yeah.
Has no.
I mean, she would implement Project 2025 gleefully and joyfully, and she would also
get her the power she wants.
Abortion bans and all the rest of it. So I'm not by any means singing her praises.
She is a smart politician. She's the one who said that the first party that drops their senior citizen candidate will be the winner. And she goes, the next president would either be me or Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And she is absolutely right.
Yep. Yeah,
I didn't know she said that. That's pretty prescient.
I think that's why she was always picking on Kamala Harris during the primaries.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Agree. That's who she went after. So anyway, yeah, but we don't have Nikki Haley to kick around anymore. And our candidate is kicking some ass and taking some names.
We're getting her voters though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
We are getting her voters.
To the point
there's a Haley voters. There's a Haley voters for Harris group,
which Haley asked if didn't ask. She wanted them to take her name off of their group.
They're not.
Yeah, they're not. It's not a trademarked name, so
no, she can't. She can't ask. She can't force them to do that. She can ask. No. She can't force them. So which is delicious too. I mean, you can't trademark a name. So
right. So anyway, even as we speak, Trump is doing some kind of bonkers economic policy.
Oh, speech. Is he with who?
So this is the creepy thing, right? Harris is going to North Carolina tomorrow, to Raleigh, and she is giving a speech about economic policy. And this has been on the calendar since Monday, so it's not a secret to anybody. Yeah. And so today, and all we've heard is how he's not doing rallies, blah, blah, blah. Well, then all of a sudden today, he's doing this speech, this rally, whatever you want to call it, in North Carolina.
Rally. It's
a policy
address. That's what it is.
Yes, right. So he had to pay $82,000 in back fees that he hadn't paid before to secure the venue. Otherwise, he wouldn't have even been able to get in there. So they had to pay that. And then his speech is fucking bonkers. I mean, I watched it for a while before we went on the air. I didn't watch it. I watched people talking about it because I can't. There's something about his negativity and hateful, spiteful, icky things that I just can't tolerate anymore.
Yeah, it'll really like trigger a physical response in people now that is just like I can't stomach watching him. I can't stomach hearing his voice. I can't.
Well, we've had that feeling for forever. He cannot stand all the attention that Harris and Walz have been getting. So that's why we're seeing a lot.
That's why he's back out
now.
Yeah.
He is doing everything he can to get the spotlight back on him. He doesn't even care if we're saying that we can't stand him.
No, and he doesn't care if he's making a fool of himself, but it's that the spotlight's on him and people are talking about him.
Right.
So what I would like to know is what the status of the debates are, if such as they are. I mean, has Harris
singular debates?
Yeah.
September 10th. That's the only one she's agreed to.
She said that we can talk about it after the first one. Now he tried to get, he made this case about, September 4th on Fox, and she didn't agree to that. He made that up,
Right. he tried to basically, pressure her. It's like saying, you said yes, let me fuck you, it's the same thing. Yeah. So I guess I got the first F in.
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
Okay. I did before.
Okay.
I snuck it in there.
So here's the thing, going back to this policy address of Trump's, is that today the inflation report came out and it was down. The Dow is up above 40,000 again.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And on the inflation where we got it down below,
3%.
Below 3%. And basically the only sector that is causing inflation at the moment is housing.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, and their Biden administration is taking steps to make housing more affordable. So one of the things that came out this week is that they're streamlining the permitting process so that the building can start happening faster, building new homes.
And no matter how fast it is, housing is just one of those sectors that's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while. Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight. But the other sectors are all well within the parameters. So, the next thing that's going to happen, it has to happen, in my opinion, is that they've got to cut the interest rates. Yeah. Because that's also hindering building. They don't want to be financing at these high interest rates.
And it's hindering home buying.
Right.
It is one of the reasons why the cost of housing is so expensive. It's not the only reason, but it's a reason, Right. So, and everybody is expecting that they will. And Jerome Powell has indicated, he's hinted, the way they do with the Fed, that this is coming. So we're expecting an interest rate cut in September, we hope. That's why the Dow is up.
Something that happens every quarter or something that I
actually more often than that. Like when they were raising interest rates, they were doing it every month for a while. It just depends on when the Fed meets and when, and then what they do. So in this case, I thought they were going to do it at their meeting in August and cut interest rates, and they didn't. And that's why you saw the markets plunge like 1,000 points on that following Monday. Because it wasn't a crash. It was just really, it wasn't. It was
just a normal fluctuation.
When you're at 40,000 and you're down 1,000, that's not a crash. Being down 10,000 is a crash.
Okay.
Right. So
right.
It was at best a small adjustment. You couldn't even call it a correction, especially when it came back the next day. So there was two factors. One is that the Feds did not raise interest rates, and the other is that Japan's interest rates got raised. So all the cheap money that people were borrowing in Japan, it just caused some sell-offs.
Globally, you had this effect from that happening, but then everybody adjusted again.
Everybody was,
and then people bought on the dip the next day.
So let me tell you what Trump said at his economic forum thing, whatever it was. Many people say this is your first tell. That means nobody but him says it.
The little man in my brain.
Right. Say that the only reason the stock market is up is because people think I am going to win. But there was one day a couple of weeks ago when they were not thinking that, and you saw what happened. And it's like, beyond the fact, I've never seen anybody root against our economy like he does.
He roots against everything about us.
I know. everything, because only he can fix it.
Which is one of the reasons why the Harris-Walz campaign is soaring, because we're tired of the doomsaying
all the time. Yes.
This is a great country with a lot going on. We're in the best economic position of any other country in the world following the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
The president, and at the risk of eating a goddamn dead horse, can I please just say we've been in a great economic position since Biden took over.
You're here.
Since he took over, and he needs credit for that.
I totally agree.
And so it's just, that the fact, and he is another person who has unbelievable optimism and faith in this country. And he is someone who every time he speaks talks about how great this country is.
It's just a shame he's old.
And it's the fact that is coming out of the mouth of is how old is he? 79 or something?
81.
81-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That has whatever arthritis in his knees.
Mm-hmm.
That makes people think, that for some reason takes the joy out of it for people. Yeah. For me, he instilled hope in me. He instilled confidence in me when he would say these things. But for some reason, so many people just needed a different package. I mean, Kamala Harris is saying the same shit that Joe Biden said.
I do think that the one thing I can say personally is that I believe that Kamala Harris will be more nimble when it comes to things like Supreme Court reform, for example.
I agree with
she was it was and is such an institutionalist, she would be more inclined to think outside the box. And
I agree with that. I agree with that. But when it comes to having faith in the capability of this country, and faith and how great the economy is, and how great we're doing, and how great our workers are, and how great what great things we do when we work together and all that stuff. That's all shit Biden said too, and he meant it no less than she does.
As you know, I mean, all three of us were ready and willing and looking forward to voting for Biden for a second.
Right. Yeah. But it's not about.
But I agree with you about that. I mean, Harris is going to be. I agree with that she's going to be more.
I just think she'll be more open to thinking outside the box, maybe on several different things. But Supreme Court reform comes to me right away. But I mean, and she is our candidate now, and I'm super excited about that.
I am too. I just want to give him props. I don't want him to fade into the background.
This man is going to get the largest standing ovation at that convention.
I think
he's going to show up as the hero who saved the party and the country. And he will go down in history as one of the best presidents we have ever had.
I hope to God. Yeah,
I agree. And I also think that he isn't done, and she knows he isn't done. I mean, look at all the things that Jimmy Carter did after he was president.
That's
right.
He was a lot younger, though, in fairness.
But he was up until in his 80s.
He was still building houses for humanity.
He was building houses, and he was still traveling to the Middle East. I mean, he was still an envoy for. So I could see where Biden is going to be dispatched.
Biden's not going anywhere. I know.
Yeah.
No, he's not fading into the.
I'm just hanging on to it. I need to let it go.
Well, and you're not alone in that. I mean, there did an interview this week, and he definitely has a grudge against Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Maybe grudge is not the right word. Maybe he basically called her out for being ruthless, and which she was and is. And I think that relationship is going to be. It's going to take a lot to mend it. Let me put it that way. And, but at the same time, if you're Nancy Pelosi and your single goal is to make sure that Trump doesn't win, and you're seeing young people disengaging, and all the people you need to win, right, disengaged, wouldn't you make the same? I blame Pelosi less than I blame the press.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. The drumbeat that we've had for at least 2 years.
Mhm.
Biden's old, Biden's old, Biden's old, Biden's old.
Yeah.
You know,
It sinks in, and young people were not now.
plus inflation, which is
Right.
a problem. But they did a very poor job of explaining why we had the inflation and what the administration was doing to fight it.
Right.
Well, it wasn't in their interest.
No.
Exactly. That goes back to
their interest was in tearing Biden down. If you recall, at the beginning of the administration, people were happy with it.
Yeah.
People were really, and they seemed surprised. They were trying to do the Dems and disarray stuff, and that wasn't happening for them. All of a sudden, those weren't working. And then we had the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
And they were like, they were.
Right. And then they ran with that. And they did not fully explain why we had the withdrawal from Afghanistan the way we had the withdrawal from Afghanistan, or that there was no way to withdraw from Afghanistan without all of that, or that the administration actually did a good job of getting us out of it when you consider all of the factors that were there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and they were never able to recover from that, because now the news media had their way to tear it down.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about them not liking it when an administration is working and we have good news and
it's boring.
Getting better.
It's boring.
Yeah.
That's for them. It's boring. They like the conflict. They like I read a great column. I'll send it to you. It was talking about this and what they need to do to. Doc Searles wrote an article about it, but then there was a link from his to something else.
Okay.
That talked about.
I mean, it is the structure of our news media now, all being corporatized the way it is.
I mean, I do understand the concept of conflict being interesting and all that.
Yes.
But there's drama that doesn't have to have a negative end. Like for example, the Olympics is a perfect example.
Right.
Yes.
There's drama in the Olympics, but there were lots of happy endings and lots of good news.
People do like that too.
And people love it. They eat it up.
But, I mean, I saw a bunch of people saying between Kamala and the Olympics, feeling joy again is a great thing, And
look at how good Kamala Harris is for the news. I would watch the news again if I felt like Kamala Harris was being reported on fairly. If I thought the news was going to be reporting accurately on Trump being in an absolute fucking panic.
Right.
And if, I would be that would draw me in.
Oh yeah, because I enjoy that.
But
that's highly entertaining.
I would love that.
I mean, all that has to be inferred. It can't. I mean,
they won't not in the other direction. Doesn't have to be inferred in the other direction for them. They would love. They'll come right out and say, "Oh, the Biden campaign is in a spiral," or the Biden, this and that is it. They'll come right out and say it about the Democrats.
Growing up,
how many Democrats in disarray headlines have there been?
There was a public interest factor to the news. The news was not a profit center for the media, for the TV networks.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, for those days again.
Something that they had to do to keep their license.
Yeah.
And it was done well. So you have your Walter Cronkite and you have your Huntley and Brinkley.
Yeah.
And it was done well. And then, over the years, I guess, when CNN launched, news became something that could be profitable. And there was nothing more profitable to the news media than a chaos agent in the White House who could cause World War III any minute. And I know that's when I became a 24/7 consumer of news. I was always a news junkie, but not the way I became during the Trump years, where every time I tried to go and have a life and leave the news for an hour or two, all hell would break loose.
Yeah.
The anxiety,
Well, and doesn't it feel good not to have that anxiety? I mean, that's the thing.
That was the wonderful thing about Biden getting elected.
Right. It was that. And then in this cycle, I think not having that anxiety, because we've heard Biden's old, he's going to be so old, he'll be the oldest president, blah, blah, blah. Now we have, as you know, my argument was always, well, we already have Kamala Harris. She's baked in. Yep. So why are we hitting Biden?
That was my argument too.
Yeah. But
absolutely.
Not speaking for me now, but speaking for all of those people that were not engaged, and honestly, the Gen X numbers were scaring the shit out of me. I was seeing those; they were so off the charts disengaged that it was just wholly frightening. Yeah. And now seeing them being engaged, seeing the young people being engaged, that's what it takes. And I think that's where Biden made his decision too. By the way, I think.
I'm sure
he saw those numbers and said, we've got to win this. And so it's got to be her. And she's running the happy warrior. I haven't seen, not since Obama, have I seen such a happy campaign, but even Obama, it's different.
He was very cerebral. He was cool. He was cool. And Kamala is warm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like even the slogans, "We aren't going back," is such a perfect slogan, right? I mean, is there a better one than that? I don't know.
At this time, under these circumstances.
Yeah.
And let us not forget the utter specter of Project 2025, which has not gone away.
Right.
Which they are ready to implement at any time.
And don't let them lie and say that like Trump was lying and saying that he didn't know anything about it when it was all his former people. And then now the training videos. I
haven't seen those.
Videos. Oh my God. They're terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some of Red State Rachel is writing about that on our site.
Yeah.
And I mean, the training videos are just absolutely terrifying. And they're all people that were in his administration that are still close to him.
Right. They start the videos saying, this is who I am. This is what I did in the Trump administration.
Right. They're all proud of it.
The thing is that Project 25 is locked and loaded and ready to go. And if we win this election, Project 2025 isn't going away. This is their plan.
No, they'll just rebrand it for 2028.
They are in power.
Yep.
All of that infrastructure, all of that framework, all of the databases, and they will just have it even more developed by then.
But this is why I think it's critical that we do things like after Kamala wins, that we have the House and the Senate, that we get rid of the Comstock Act. That's got to go right away. Yeah. Right. And then there has to be safeguards. I mean, what Democrats should be doing right now, policy wonks, is analyzing these videos and figuring out, well, what do we need to do to lock this out, basically, and then make that happen. Right.
In between fighting the current thing. I mean, Mark Elias can't be everywhere doing everything.
No, and even Mark Elias has a great crew that he's is with him on this, but it's not enough. I mean, if you compare the number of our lawyers to their lawyers, they have about 1,000 times more than we do.
Well, that's because of the Federalist Society. We need our version. We need a version of that.
And it is global.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. That's the other thing. I mean, we have Maduro, right, who just stole an election.
Right.
Like totally. Yeah. I mean, the international analysts are saying there's no way that this guy won, and people are in the streets over it. And he's like, mine. Possession is, 9/10 of the law. Mine.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. And
That's a problem.
yeah. And you have, it's not just there, right? You have Poland, Poland's not as bad, but Hungary, holy moly.
And they're a NATO member.
I know. And they actually nominally behave as NATO members because they don't want to be invaded by Russia. So, but still, Orban is a dictator.
Can we say something about Ukraine invading Russia?
Yes. For the first time in how long? Russia has foreign tanks across their borders.
Did you see that the Ukrainians are giving restaurant reviews in Russia?
Yeah. Oh my God. They're like, the food is great, but the parking's bad. I can't find a place to park my tank.
Oh my God. God bless them.
The Ukrainians know how to troll.
Oh my God. They remind me of the Jews. Well, they are Jews. A lot of them.
It's
just
So the interesting part of this is that Russia now is on the horns of the dilemma, right? Because now Ukraine controls some of their land.
Yeah.
And so they have to decide what they want to do about that. Do they want to defend it? If they want to defend it, they're going to maybe have to withdraw from. So
they have withdrawn some of the soldiers or reassigned some of the soldiers who were in Ukraine to fight in Russia.
It's not going to be enough unless they actually. That's the part of this that's so interesting is that they really have a problem now, and
Putin doesn't look so invincible.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I keep thinking about a year and a half ago now. How long ago? 2 years that he invaded. That everybody, so many people felt like this is going to be over in 4 days.
That's what Putin said.
People are like, and
I give Zelensky a lot of credit for his leadership in this.
Oh my God.
He's not laying down anything for Putin, and
but neither are the Ukrainians. It's like the whole people are so incredible.
Right. Well, it helps when you have a leader that's like, let's fight this, right?
Yeah,
let's not just lay down.
We don't have to lay down.
Yeah. And they're like, so some of the commentary from the Olympics, like, with the Ukrainian gymnastics team, for example, and how hard they had to work to get there at all. And not even like their practices were in the dark by candlelight because they and stuff like that. You just think how privileged we are and how motivated they were to be there and represent. I was rooting for him. I wanted him to
medal at least. Yeah.
Being there was a victory. And in some of the sports, I think in one of the track sports, they they got medals. So,
and that's what I'm talking about when I say that there's, that the media can report on things that are dramatic and even conflict driven.
Mm-hmm.
That don't have to.
They're doing a very good job of exposing the corruption at the IOC and that tribunal that wants Jordan Childs' medal back.
Yes.
I would just like to kick the ass of the gymnastics federations altogether because the thing that's so wrong about what they are doing right now to Jordan Childs is that they misjudged that move to start with. They made the error. And then it was questioned and they said, oh yeah, it was an error. And they switched it back in pretty much real time to where it should have been. She places third, she gets the bronze. And now the other side is obviously pissed because they didn't get theirs. So they go to the international people and say, oh, they didn't lodge the complaint. So it's not about whether or not the judgment call was right. It's about the timing of when they lodged their complaint.
The coach
4 seconds after they only had a minute to do it, and it was a minute.
That they did lodge it.
But it was. They had 2 different video captures of them lodging the complaint within the 1 minute time frame.
The commission that made the decision is headed by an attorney who lobbies for Romania.
Right.
And so basically what the IOC said was there is no evidence you could bring to us that will make us change our mind. Even if it shows that even if it shows that you are completely right and we are completely wrong.
And don't forget that there have been instances, precedents in the past in the different sports at the Olympics where they would just decide it's a tie and issue a second bronze medal.
But they're not doing that. And they want her to return the medal, which is very, very rare. They only do that if a person is accused of or found guilty of doping.
This is racism. This is pure unadulterated racism.
Because this year, all the medals in women's gymnastics were won by Black women.
Yeah.
And
from the team medal
in that and in that particular
women of color, because Suni Lee is not Black, but
right. But on that one in particular, it was Jordan Childs, Simone Biles, and the woman from Argentina,
Brazil.
Oh, Brazil, right? Rebecca, and I forget her last name. So it was 3 Black women.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was that event where this happened.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And they were like, oh, no. We can't have, not 3 Black women. And it is atrocious, and it's transparent, and it's gross. And gross. I mean, this is, I hope they sue the IOC or whatever they can do. I think it should be dismantled. I think it is just awful.
How are they going to get the bronze medal back? Possession. She's got the bronze.
She's not going to give it back. I mean, if she were sitting in front of me, I'd say, "Don't you dare give back that bronze medal." And the thing is that, but what frustrates me about this is what it takes away from both of her and the others that competed, right? Which is they did their best. And it was the judge that failed, not them. They did fine. The judge failed. They fixed the result. It was right. And then now they're trying to unwind something because a judge fucked up. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
No.
So they better get it straightened out before 2028, because I want to have a good Olympics in Los Angeles.
I do too. The opening ceremonies were so fun to see all that, because I was here for 84 Olympics, and they were.
Me too. It was fantastic to be. I mean, Los Angeles never looked better, never was prettier, it was just.
I have a lot of friends in Los Angeles. I'm going to see if I can get a ticket out there, and maybe somebody might put me up so that I can at least be around.
Friends. The funny part is everybody was dreading it. They all, oh my God, there's going to be so much traffic. It's going to be so awful. It was going to be terrible. The freeways were literally deserted. Everybody who worked in Los Angeles,
they all stayed home.
They all took vacation time and were gone.
Back then.
So there was no problem with that. And
Los Angeles
out their houses, like before Airbnb, right? They were renting out their homes for these outrageous rates and getting them, right? But it was such a party in LA. It was nice. I don't know. I had tickets to like one of the track qualifying things or something. It wasn't, it wasn't a main event, but it was still so fun.
I would go to anything. I would go to any of it.
Yeah.
But I know we only have like 2 minutes left, but I did want to say something really quick, and I hate to end on like a concerned note, but I am concerned, speaking of LA freeways they were blocked yesterday by
heavy sigh. No, I'm not sighing at you. I'm sighing at the ones who blocked the frickin' freeways.
Yes, the pro-Palestinian and anti-Israeli, and they blocked the freeway, the 405, with their cars, and many were arrested. The cars were towed, and it is my understanding that there are over 100 groups, Palestinian groups, that were granted permits to protest the DNC next week, and not one Jewish group was granted a permit.
Really?
Oh, that's wow. Holy moly. Well, that sucks.
So
I do take comfort in the fact that their protest spot is very far away from them.
it is, but I just wanted to put that out there and say, like, this problem is not going away.
No.
School is starting soon. And, college is starting soon. And, the DNC is an opportunity for this, ugliness to crop up again. Not that it ever really goes away, but, I hope.
We'll
I mean, I think you have to also take into account that there is an organized. This is the issue that the organized foreign interference people are using to.
And I think that Kamala Harris has been handling it like a champ.
I do too.
By the way, if you want to end on a good note,
Even though I saw one news account where they called what she said about if you want Trump to win, say that. They called that a gaffe. They called that a gaffe.
That's not a gaffe.
That wasn't a gaffe.
It's not a gaffe.
They actually.
Do they know what a gaffe is?
I apparently not, because if they knew what a gaffe was, they wouldn't have called that one.
They called
that was a perfect way for her to
correct it on the next one where she, where she showed sympathy or empathy, and it was like.
I feel like I know.
She also said that she wanted the hostages to come home. She said she wants she wants a ceasefire and she wants the hostages to come home. Right. Period.
I know we're going overtime here, but there's absolutely nothing that she could possibly say that would satisfy. This is why she's not sitting down and having interviews with the press, because there's nothing she could say. Whatever she said, they'd move the goalposts on it to a new thing. Yeah. So it's like, I was fine with, if you want Trump to win, keep saying that.
I was too.
Right.
I was
so.
I thought it was great.
Okay, on that note.
Sorry.
But love you guys. When we see you guys again, we will be in the middle of the convention.
Yes.
And we'll know exactly how much fun the agitators will be having in Chicago. Hopefully we'll just have fun things to say, because this was fun today. We didn't get to almost any of the bad stuff. So join us next time on YouTube, MOMocrats.buzzsprout.com, or on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Karoli and Aliza, saying goodbye for the MOMocrats. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
MOMocrats Mama Chat is part of the Demcast family of podcasts.